The restaurant was too quiet for a Saturday night. Luna Orchid's soft golden glow reflected off the marble floors, but beneath the surface something was about to explode. Amina Cole's pulse pounded in her ears as she balanced a tray, eyes darting between the VIP tables. Across the hall, Jihoon Kwan sat alone, his expression unreadable, unaware that death was counting down toward him. At the front row table, Aria Romano lounged in pristine white silk, smiling with the kind of confidence that chilled the blood. She never took her eyes off him, not with love, but with calculation and expectation. Amina had just overheard her in the staff corridor, whispering to two men armed to kill. "Snipers in place. He dies before the dessert arrives." Her hands had been shaking, but her mind was razor sharp. There was no time. She had to act, and she had to act now. She took a deep breath and crossed the dining hall, every step precise, controlled, measured. Aria's gaze followed her, sharp and slow, a poisonous smile curling on her lips. Amina reached Jihoon's table and slid a folded note beneath his fingers. He frowned, picked it up, and read it silently. "Your fiancé sold you out. Snipers, 9 seconds." Jihoon froze. His hand trembled slightly over the glass of wine. Across the room, Aria raised her champagne glass, signaling the kill. "Stand up slowly. Move now," Amina whispered, her voice barely audible over the muted classical music that filled the room. Jihoon obeyed. His chair scraped across the floor just as the windows shattered. Glass rained down, bullets tore through the room, screams erupted. The patrons ducked and scattered. Aria didn't flinch. She simply watched, calm as ice, her hand still raised in the signal of death. Amina yanked Jihoon to the floor, pressing his chest against the cool marble. "Why risk your life for me?" he gasped, fear and disbelief in his tone. "Because she's not just killing you, she's killing everyone in this room," Amina said, panting, voice tense. He looked up at Aria, who was stepping backward toward a side exit, smirking, enjoying every second. "She planned this whole thing," Jihoon growled. "Jihoon? This is only part 1, Amina replied. Chaos reigned as they crawled behind the shattered buffet counters. Tables tipped, silverware clattered, and the shrieks of diners filled the room like a twisted symphony. Jihoon fired a glance at Amina. "How did you even know?" "I overheard everything," she said sharply, pulling him toward the service door. "We don't have time to talk. Just keep moving." They burst into the kitchen. Steam hissed from overturned pots, knives skittered across the floor, and a lone sous chef screamed, ducking behind an industrial refrigerator. Jihoon's phone buzzed in his pocket. His syndicate contacts were silent. No backup. No rescue. Only the rain-soaked street waiting for them outside. They stumbled out into the alley. Behind Luna Orchid, the city lights blurring through the rain. A black SUV screeched to a stop. Jihoon's hand went to his weapon, but Amina yanked him behind a dumpster. The vehicle's doors burst open. Armed men emerged. Not all of them strangers. Some bore the insignia of his syndicate. "They're here too," Amina hissed. "Inside your circle. Someone wants you dead from the inside." Jihoon's eyes narrowed. Ren. He spat the name like venom. His half-brother, the exiled son of his father, had always loathed him, always waited for the perfect moment to strike. This was it. Gunfire erupted. Amina pulled Jihoon to the side as bullets shredded the alley wall where they had just been standing. One round hit the dumpster, splinters spraying everywhere. Jihoon fired back instinctively, his training kicking in despite the shock. "Follow me," Amina shouted. "We go through the rooftops. There's a service ladder around the corner. Fast." He obeyed, adrenaline spiking. They sprinted toward a fire escape. Behind them, the gunman shouted orders, and a flare of gunfire lit up the wet night. Jihoon vaulted onto the ladder first, helping Amina up. Their breaths misted in the cold rain as they climbed higher. each rung a heartbeat closer to survival. When they reached the rooftop, Jihoon paused, looking down at the chaos below. "We need a plan. If Aria's involved, this isn't just about me. She's setting up a massacre." Amina's jaw tightened. "I know. That's why we have to hit her first. If she thinks she can take out the Kwan family heir in public, she'll kill more than just him." Jihoon's gaze flicked to her, a mixture of awe and frustration. "And why should I trust you?" "Because if I didn't risk my life, you'd already be dead," she said, voice low but steady. He stared at her, searching for hesitation. Found none. "All right," he said, voice clipped. "You stay close. One wrong move, and we're done." They moved along the rooftop, shadows in the storm, silent but alert. The city sprawled beneath them, unaware of the violent chess game unfolding above. Every second counted. Every step could be their last. "First, we get out of the city," Amina said. "Then we figure out who's really behind this, because Aria isn't acting alone." Jihoon nodded, already plotting. He pulled out his phone again. "Time to see which of my men are loyal, and which are already working with Ren." The first call went unanswered. So did the second. "Damn it," Jihoon muttered. "They're compromised." "Then we do it ourselves," Amina said firmly. "We survive tonight. We strike tomorrow." Jihoon's eyes narrowed. He liked the fire in her. Dangerous, relentless fire. "Fine," he said. "But we move fast. I'm not letting Aria get the drop on me again." Thunder cracked across the sky, and the first batch of bullets from Aria's men rang out from below, splintering the fire escape ladder. Amina grabbed Jihoon's arm. "Jump!" she hissed. Without hesitation, they leapt onto the next rooftop, rolling to absorb the impact. "Looks like this is just the beginning," Jihoon muttered. Amina's lips pressed into a thin line. "It's only the first round. The game's just starting. If you're hooked already, hit subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts. Trust me, the next move is going to blow your mind." They crouched behind the rooftop HVAC units, catching their breath. Below them, Luna Orchid was chaos incarnate. Broken glass, screaming diners, and armed men running wild. Aria stood by the side door, her perfect composure untouched by the disaster she orchestrated. "Do you see what I mean?" Amina asked quietly. "She's enjoying this." Jihoon's jaw tightened. "I know. And she's going to enjoy it even more if we don't stop her." They stayed low, listening to the rain and the distant sirens. Each heartbeat was a reminder. Survival meant knowing the enemy, knowing the terrain, and trusting only each other. Amina adjusted her grip on the small concealed pistol at her hip. "We make it through tonight, and we start taking back what's ours. Step 1. Find out who else is involved. Step 2. Stop them before they even get a chance to strike again." Jihoon nodded, eyes fixed on the chaos below. "Good. Let's move. Fast." And with that, they disappeared into the stormy night. Two unlikely allies bound by survival, adrenaline, and the promise of vengeance. The rain hammered down on the rooftops as Amina and Jihoon moved like shadows, sliding over slick tiles and ducking under satellite dishes. Each step was calculated, but every heartbeat echoed with danger. Somewhere below, Aria's men were regrouping, shouting orders, boots slapping wet concrete, guns ready. Jihoon peered over the edge, scanning the alleyways. "We can't go back the way we came. They'll expect it." Amina nodded, her eyes sharp. "Then we go through the docks. Less crowded. Fewer cameras. We can disappear there." He glanced at her, impressed. "You know the city well." "I've been working this part of town for years," she said, her voice tight. "But tonight, it's different. We're not just delivering food anymore." A thunderclap shook the sky, masking their footsteps as they moved toward the fire escape that led down to the darkened street. Jihoon followed her lead, muscles tense, fingers brushing his weapon. When they reached the bottom, the docks were deserted. Cargo crates formed natural cover and the smell of salt water mixed with diesel. Amina crouched behind a container, peering around the corner. No one's here. Yet. Jihoon exhaled, rubbing his face. We've been lucky. So far. Luck won't last, Amina said, voice low but firm. We have to move fast and smart. They navigated the maze of crates, their footsteps silent on the wet metal floor. Every shadow seemed alive, every echo a threat. Finally, they reached a small boat tied to the dock. Jihoon lifted the cover. We go by water? Quiet, fast, they'll never expect it, Amina said, already sliding inside. The engine coughed to life, and the boat cut through the waves, carrying them away from Luna Orchid and the chaos behind it. Jihoon stared at the city skyline receding into the rain. She's planning something bigger. I can feel it. Aria isn't just after me. She wants to send a message. Amina kept her eyes forward, scanning the water. Message or not, we survive tonight, and we take control tomorrow. Step 1. Find allies. Step 2. Expose the traitors. Jihoon's grip on the edge of the boat tightened. I don't even know who to trust. Then trust me, Amina said simply. Her eyes met his, unwavering. I've already risked my life for you twice. You don't survive this city alone. You need someone who sees the game before it's played. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. All right. But if we're doing this, we do it my way from here on out. Amina smirked faintly. Fine. But your way better be fast, or we won't live to see it. The boat's motor thrummed softly under the night sky. Rain streamed down their faces as the city lights blurred into streaks. Every moment was a reminder. Survival depended on timing, cunning, and precision. When they reached the other side of the river, Jihoon guided the boat to a hidden alleyway behind a warehouse. Killed the engine, and silence fell, broken only by the occasional splash of water against the hull. Do you have a safe place? He asked. Amina nodded. I have a friend. Private, off-grid. He owes me favors, and favors in Chicago are worth more than money. They moved through the shadows, careful not to draw attention. Every creak of the dock, every dripping water puddle seemed louder than it was. As they approached an unmarked door in a nondescript building, Amina knocked twice in a specific rhythm. The door cracked open, revealing a tall man with a scar running across his cheek. He motioned them inside without a word. Once inside, Amina whispered, He's solid. Won't betray us, and he keeps people safe. Jihoon's eyes swept the small room, assessing every detail. Good. Now we figure out our next move. Step 1. Aria. Step 2. Ren. Step 3. Anyone else involved? Amina sat on a worn leather chair, pulling a small notebook from her bag. I've been tracking them. Aria and Ren aren't working alone. There's a network within both syndicates. They've been waiting for a chance to consolidate power. Tonight was just the opening move. Jihoon's fists clenched. So the snipers, the ambushes, just practice runs? Exactly, Amina said grimly, and they'll escalate if we don't strike first. He ran a hand through his hair. We need intel, hard evidence, something that will cripple them, expose the traitors, and stop the wedding. Amina nodded. I have a plan, but it's dangerous. You'll need to trust me completely. Jihoon's eyes met hers, serious, calculating. I've learned trust is earned, not given. You've earned it once tonight. Prove it again, and I'll follow. She smirked. I intend to. The hours passed as they plotted. Amina shared everything she had overheard, everything she had seen, every movement she had tracked. Jihoon made notes, mapping out potential snipers, escape routes, and hidden entrances. You see, Amina said, pointing to the map, Aria's network inside your syndicate is extensive. There are at least 5 people feeding her information, including one lieutenant you thought was loyal. Jihoon's jaw tightened. Ren must have placed them. He's everywhere I'm not. And that's why we need to move fast, Amina said. Tonight we survive. Tomorrow we strike. A tense silence fell over the room. Outside, the city's rain-soaked streets were quiet, almost deceptively so. Jihoon broke the silence. We need weapons. I have that covered, Amina said, standing. We don't just need guns, we need precision. And timing. Hours later, they were back on the move. Through abandoned alleys, hidden passageways, and shadowed rooftops, they gathered what they needed. Silenced pistols, lockpicks, communication devices. Every move was calculated, every risk measured. Jihoon watched her, impressed. You're organized, calculated, dangerous. Amina smirked. I've survived this city my whole life. You think tonight's chaos is anything new? They paused on a rooftop overlooking Aria's planned wedding venue. The mansion glimmered under floodlights, perfectly staged, completely unaware that its walls would soon witness betrayal and chaos. Jihoon's voice was low but firm. We go in tomorrow, clean, fast, and decisive. No mistakes. Amina nodded. And we survive. Together. Thunder cracked, echoing across the city like a warning. Every shadow held danger. Every light could be a sniper. But for the first time that night, Jihoon felt a flicker of hope. With Amina by his side, maybe, just maybe, they could take control of the game before the game ended them. He glanced at her. Do you ever get scared? Every second, she admitted, but fear keeps you alive. Without it, you're already dead. Amina tightened her grip on her weapon. And tonight, we're not dead. Not yet. Jihoon nodded, the storm and rain reflecting in his eyes. Then we move. Tomorrow, we change everything. As night fell deeper over Chicago, they disappeared into the shadows, 2 forces bound by survival, determination, and the need to outsmart Aria and Ren before it was too late. The city slept, but danger didn't. And neither did they. The rain had stopped, leaving the city slick and shining under the streetlights. Amina and Jihoon moved silently through back alleys, each step measured, each shadow scanned. They had weapons, plans, and timing, but now came the hardest part: infiltration. This mansion, Jihoon said, crouching behind a dumpster, isn't just heavily guarded, it's a fortress. Every doorway, every window has eyes, cameras, sensors, guards. Amina checked her compact device that jammed security signals. And yet, I know a way in. A side corridor for deliveries. No one notices a catering cart. Jihoon raised an eyebrow. Catering cart? Amina smirked. Exactly. That's how we get close. Not through force, through stealth. Precision over power. He nodded, impressed despite himself. All right. We go in, find evidence, disrupt their network, and get out clean. One chance. No mistakes. Amina crouched beside him, whispering, I already scoped out the staff. Some are loyal to Aria. Some are just scared. We'll know who's who by the time we reach the ballroom. They moved toward the mansion like shadows, slipping past guards, using the narrow alleyways and overgrown hedges. Every step, every rustle of leaves was amplified in their ears. A single mistake could mean death. Once at the service entrance, Amina pulled a cart loaded with trays from the shadows. Perfect timing. Staff shift change in 5 minutes. Guards won't check delivery carts closely. Jihoon watched, tension coiling in his chest. Then let's move. They wheeled the cart through the side door, and inside, the mansion was opulent and pristine. The scent of expensive perfumes mingled with floral arrangements. Aria's guests were beginning to arrive, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. Amina whispered, Watch for signs. Any nervous staff. Anyone acting differently. Those are our markers. They moved quickly, gliding past the grand staircase, using the shadows to cover their approach. In the kitchen, a young waiter glanced at them, eyes widening at the presence of unfamiliar faces. Jihoon tilted his head, muttering, "Scan for loyalty. Who's scared? Who's pretending?" Amina's eyes flicked to a man stacking plates. He froze for a fraction of a second too long. "That's our guy," she whispered. Jihoon nodded. "I'll handle the observation. You focus on the cart." Together, they maneuvered the cart toward the ballroom entrance. Outside, Aria was talking with Ren, laughing lightly, her hand brushing his arm. Every gesture screamed calculated perfection, a queen in her domain, oblivious to the infiltrators inches away. Amina peeked around the cart. "We have less than 10 minutes before the room is full, cameras, guards, everything. We move now." Jihoon exhaled slowly. "Let's do it." They slipped the cart through the ballroom doors, moving carefully, blending with the catering staff. Patrons murmured, unaware of the storm creeping into their celebration. From the corner, Amina watched Aria and Ren, her grip tightening on her concealed weapon. They're not just celebrating, they're consolidating. Everyone in this room owes allegiance, or will, by the end of tonight. Jihoon's gaze swept the crowd. "We need proof. We expose them, and their network collapses, but it has to be clean." Amina nodded, signaling him toward the back office. "Documents, communication devices, any recordings of orders, payments, threats, everything. That's our ticket." Jihoon's expression hardened. "And if we get caught?" Amina's lips pressed into a thin line. "Then we fight our way out. No hesitation. Survival first, revenge second." They moved through the ballroom's shadows, slipping into the back corridors. A guard emerged suddenly, a flashlight cutting through the dim. Jihoon grabbed Amina's wrist and pulled her into a side room just as the beam swept past. "Too close," Jihoon muttered, catching his breath. "We need to be faster." Amina nodded, scanning the room. "The office is through that door. Keycard access. I can handle it." She slipped a small device from her pocket, attached it to the keypad, and within seconds, the door clicked open. They moved inside. Papers, ledgers, and encrypted drives filled the room. Jihoon grabbed a few files, scanning rapidly. Money trails, bribes, assassination orders, everything is here. But where's Aria's direct communication with Ren? Amina rifled through a drawer, pulling out a sleek tablet. "Here. Messages, calls, location logs, enough to dismantle their network if we get this out." Suddenly, a shadow crossed the corridor outside, footsteps approaching. Jihoon cursed under his breath. "Time to move, now." They stuffed files and the tablet into their bags. Amina held the door as Jihoon darted out, pulling her along. Just as they reached the ballroom, a security guard spotted them. "Hey!" he shouted, raising his radio. Jihoon fired a warning shot into the ceiling. Chaos erupted. Guests screamed, glasses shattered, music screeched to a halt. Amina grabbed his arm. "Back the way we came." They ran, dodging waiters and panicked guests. Guards gave chase, but Amina and Jihoon were faster, more precise. Through a service corridor, down the staircase, and out the side exit, they emerged into the alley, panting, adrenaline surging. Jihoon glanced at the files. "We have what we need. But now Aria will know someone infiltrated." Amina nodded grimly. "Which means tonight isn't over. She'll come after us. And she won't hesitate." They disappeared into the shadows, the city's night swallowing them. But the mansion's lights still burned, oblivious to the destruction that had silently infiltrated their plans. Hours later, they regrouped in the safe house. The evidence sprawled across the table. Money trails, messages, hidden camera footage, everything they needed to dismantle Aria and Ren's network. Jihoon ran his fingers through his hair. This is enough to ruin them. If we leak this smartly, their entire operation collapses." Amina nodded. Exactly, but we need strategy. Timing. One wrong move and all of this is useless. Jihoon's gaze hardened. Aria will come for us. She knows someone's in her network has been compromised. Then we make her think she's winning, Amina said. We plant misdirection, smoke, confusion, fear. A tense silence fell. Both understood the stakes. Every second, every move could mean death or victory. Jihoon leaned back, eyes dark. And if she tries to kill me at the wedding? That's the final step in her plan. We need to anticipate her every move. Amina smirked faintly. Already ahead of you. I've been tracking her for weeks. I know the layout, the guards, the schedules. We use that. Strike first. He studied her, impressed. You're more than a waitress, Amina. You're a strategist. Maybe, she said, or maybe I just know how to survive. The storm outside had passed, leaving the city quiet, deceptively calm. Inside, the room buzzed with tension, the calm before the inevitable storm. Jihoon leaned forward, voice low. Tomorrow, we end this. We either walk out alive, or not at all. Amina's eyes met his, fierce. Then we make sure it's us walking out. Thunder rolled in the distance. Outside, Chicago slept, unaware that the underworld was about to erupt in fire, betrayal, and blood. They spent the rest of the night planning, preparing, memorizing routes, rehearsing timing. Every detail mattered. Every movement counted. By dawn, they had a plan. Infiltrate the wedding disguised as staff, expose the traitors, take Aria and Ren off their throne, and survive the night. Jihoon looked at Amina. You're crazy, you know that? Amina smiled, checking her weapon. And tonight, that crazy might just save both our lives. With the first light brushing Chicago's skyline, they vanished into the morning haze, ready for the storm that was about to hit. The wedding hall glittered with opulence, chandeliers casting a golden glow over rows of elegantly dressed guests. Music floated through the air, blending with the soft murmur of conversations. No one noticed the shadows moving along the service corridors, the unseen observers blending perfectly with the staff. Amina adjusted the catering uniform, checking the concealed weapon at her hip. Jihoon mirrored her movements, a sharp focus in his eyes. Once we're inside, stick to the plan, he whispered. No mistakes. Amina nodded. I've memorized the layout, cameras, exits, guard shifts, all of it. One wrong move and it's over. They pushed a cart into the ballroom, perfectly timed with a server delivering hors d'oeuvres. The guests barely noticed. The chaos from the infiltration carefully avoided. Amina's pulse quickened as she scanned the crowd. There, by the grand staircase, stood Aria, radiant in her gown, laughing with Ren. Her smile was calm, composed, but lethal. Jihoon's eyes narrowed. There, that's our target. Amina's gaze flicked to the staff. We have eyes on all the internal threats, waiters and security loyal to them. Any deviation from normal behavior is a marker. We're watching. We adapt. The first waiter, nervous and pale, moved toward the back, glancing over his shoulder. Amina whispered, He's loyal to them. Keep him busy. Distraction. Jihoon subtly diverted the staff, creating confusion. I'll handle him. He moved with precision, blocking the man's path without drawing attention, forcing him to retreat. Amina wheeled the cart toward the rear office, slipping through a side door. Inside, files and devices waited, the evidence they had gathered earlier. She quickly connected the encrypted drives to a small portable device, ready to transfer critical information to a secure cloud server. Upload almost complete, she muttered, eyes scanning the doorway. Once this is done, we have leverage. Jihoon's voice came through her earpiece. Half the guests are watching the ceremony. Less interference. Move fast. A sudden sound from the hall made both tense. Aria had noticed movement. Her eyes flicked toward the doorway, narrowing. Something's wrong, she murmured to Ren. Jihoon stepped back, hand resting on his concealed pistol. We've been spotted. Amina's pulse surged. Not yet, just cautious. We finish the upload, then we create chaos. Seconds stretched into an eternity. The upload completed. Jihoon and Amina moved as one, silent shadows through the corridors. Then came the first betrayal. A staff member, loyal to Aria, lunged with a knife. Jihoon reacted instantly, knocking the man off balance and disarming him. Amina spun, gun drawn, covering the hallway. Keep moving, she hissed. They slipped out of the side corridor, entering the main ballroom under the guise of catering staff. Guests gasped as the first gunshots rang. Out. Chaos erupting. Some fled under tables, others screamed. But amidst the panic, Amina and Jihoon moved like predators, focused on their targets. Aria's eyes widened, realizing the infiltration was deeper than she anticipated. How? She whispered to Ren. Jihoon pushed forward, confronting her. Step aside, Aria. This ends tonight. Ren stepped in, weapon drawn. You think you can stop this? Amina moved to flank him, weapon trained. We already have. The room erupted. Glass shattered, screams filled the air and guests scrambled. But Jihoon and Amina stayed focused, their objective clear. Survive and dismantle Aria's network. Aria lunged toward Jihoon, but Amina intercepted, blocking her path. The two women circled each other, tension crackling like electricity. You shouldn't have come here, Aria hissed. I shouldn't have to, Amina replied, eyes cold. But you left me no choice. Ren tried to flank Jihoon, but he anticipated the move, tackling him to the floor. Gunfire echoed, bullets tearing through the grand hall as chaos reigned. Amina took a step back, assessing the room. We need leverage, Jihoon. Take the microphone, expose everything. He grabbed the wedding microphone, voice booming across the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, your beloved Aria and Ren have been orchestrating murders, bribes, and betrayals. The evidence is here. Gasps filled the room. Some guests screamed, others froze. Aria's perfect composure faltered, rage flickering in her eyes. Amina fired a warning shot, drawing attention to the evidence displays. Look here, every message, every transfer, every assassination order. The room erupted further. Guards loyal to Aria hesitated, unsure of orders. Jihoon's men, who had been secretly in position, moved in, securing exits and rounding up traitors. Aria's face twisted in fury. You'll pay for this, she screamed. Jihoon stepped forward. No more games. Tonight, it ends. You and your network are finished. Amina scanned the room, spotting key players trying to flee. She moved fast, disarming two more guards and pushing them toward secure areas. The ballroom became a battlefield, but the chaos worked in their favor. A sudden explosion outside shook the windows. Smoke filled the edges of the hall. Guests panicked further. Jihoon and Amina used the confusion to secure the final pieces of evidence, ensuring every traitor was accounted for. Aria tried to escape through the side exit. Amina was faster, intercepting her. The two women clashed, fists and weapons, a brutal ballet of rage and survival. You're not leaving, Amina spat. Aria laughed bitterly. Neither are you. Jihoon moved to assist, restraining Ren. Game over, he said firmly. The police sirens wailed in the distance, responding to the chaos. Aria and her remaining loyalists were trapped. Every move Jihoon and Amina had made ensured containment. Amina finally had Aria cornered. It's over, she said, cold as ice. All your schemes, every life you endangered, it ends here. Aria glared, her perfect veneer cracked. You think this changes anything? You don't understand. I understand survival, Amina replied, and tonight, survival wins. The chaos subsided. Guests were evacuated, Police entered, and Aria's empire began crumbling before her eyes. Jihoon and Amina stood together, bruised, soaked, adrenaline still surging. Jihoon glanced at her. "We did it. But this is just the start. Ren, Aria, they're just pieces. There's more out there." Amina nodded. "And we'll find it. One step at a time. Tonight we survived. Tomorrow we clean up the rest." The storm outside had passed, leaving the city deceptively calm. Inside, the ballroom bore the scars of betrayal, chaos, and a victory hard-fought and well-earned. Jihoon's eyes met Amina's, a silent acknowledgement passing between them, trust forged in fire, survival, and vengeance. The morning after the wedding chaos, the city was quiet, almost too quiet. Rain had left puddles along the sidewalks, reflecting neon signs in fractured patterns. Amina and Jihoon moved through back alleys, keeping low profiles. They had survived the ballroom showdown, but the real danger wasn't over. "Aria isn't finished," Jihoon said, voice low. "She'll regroup, find new allies, and when she does, she'll come for us." Amina adjusted her jacket, scanning the rooftops. "Let her come. We know her network now, and we have the evidence to take her completely down. She can't hide in Chicago anymore." Jihoon hesitated. "You think it's that simple?" "Not simple," Amina said, her tone sharp, "but necessary. We finish this before she finishes us." Their first target was Ren. He'd survived the wedding but was wounded and isolated. Intelligence from the intercepted messages suggested he had holed up in a small safe house near the river. "Why are we going after him first?" Jihoon asked. "Because he's the strategist," Amina said. "Take him out, and Aria loses her edge. She's impulsive. She reacts. She makes mistakes. That's when we strike her." They reached the safe house at dusk. Shadows hugged the walls, and the faint hum of electricity leaked from the windows. Amina gestured for Jihoon to cover the entrance. She slipped through the side, weapon ready. Inside, Ren was pacing, muttering to himself. He didn't see Amina until she pressed the barrel of her gun to his back. "Looking for me?" he snapped, spinning around. Amina's eyes didn't waver. "Put your hands where I can see them." Ren laughed, a harsh, nervous sound. "You think you've won? You've barely scratched the surface." Jihoon stepped in behind her, weapon drawn. "Step aside, Ren, it's over." Ren lunged for a hidden weapon, but Jihoon was faster. In a blur, he disarmed him and pinned him to the ground. "You're done," Jihoon said firmly. Amina cuffed him and searched the room, finding more encrypted drives, a map of the city, and plans detailing Aria's next moves. "This is what we needed. She can't hide anything now." Ren's glare burned. "You think you've won? Aria? She's unstoppable." Jihoon smirked. "We'll see about that." With Ren secured, they regrouped at their safe house. Amina spread out the maps and devices across the table. "This is everything," she said. "Locations, communication lines, hidden accounts. Every one of them exposed." Jihoon scanned the documents. "So now we go after Aria?" "Yes," Amina said. "But carefully, we can't underestimate her. She's reckless, but brilliant in her own way. One wrong move, and this all falls apart." The next day, they tracked Aria to a penthouse overlooking the river. Security was tight, more than expected, but they had preparation on their side. Amina studied the building, noting guard rotations, access points, and escape routes. Jihoon glanced at her. "We go in how?" "Stealth first," she said. "Disguise, timed entry, and disruption. We make her think she's safe, then collapse everything around her." They infiltrated the penthouse through a maintenance ladder, moving quietly into the building. Guests inside were few, loyalists she trusted implicitly. But Amina and Jihoon had the upper hand with the element of surprise. Aria stood near the balcony, looking out over the city, unaware of the two shadows entering behind her. Jihoon, she hissed, spinning when she finally noticed. How did you? Planning ahead, Aria, Jihoon said coldly. You didn't account for me surviving last night. Amina moved to flank her, weapon trained. Step aside, this ends tonight. Aria's eyes blazed, lips curling into a smirk. I didn't expect you to come alone. Jihoon's grip tightened on his gun. We're never alone when we have the truth. The room erupted in violence. Aria's loyalists moved to intercept, but Jihoon and Amina were faster, more precise. The first shots rang out, glass shattered, bodies collided. Amina ducked behind a couch, firing a warning shot to create distance. Jihoon, focus on her. I'll handle the rest. Aria lunged at Jihoon, a knife glinting in her hand. He twisted, avoiding the blade, knocking her off balance. Amina advanced, weapon ready. You think this proves anything? Aria snarled. Yes, Amina replied, eyes cold. It proves that no empire built on betrayal survives forever. The battle raged across the penthouse. Furniture toppled, glass sprayed across the floor, and the storm outside rattled the windows. Every move was a fight for survival. Every decision a calculation of life or death. Finally, Jihoon managed to pin Aria against the balcony railing, gun pressed to her temple. It's over, he said firmly. Amina cuffed her hands, securing the remaining loyalists. No more running, no more schemes. Aria glared at them, fury burning in her eyes. You think this changes anything? My family, my power? Is gone, Jihoon said simply. Hours later, the city was calm again. Police and backup had arrived, taking Aria, Ren, and the remaining loyalists into custody. Evidence was transferred, arrests made, and the underworld's hierarchy was destabilized. Amina and Jihoon stood on a rooftop overlooking the skyline, exhaustion and relief mingling. We did it, Jihoon said, voice low. Not done yet, Amina replied. But we survived. That's step one. He glanced at her, the tension between them softened by shared triumph. You're incredible, Amina. I don't know what I would have done without you. She smiled faintly. You'd be dead or in pieces somewhere. Don't thank me yet. We have cleanup to do. Jihoon chuckled softly. Then let's finish this. They descended into the streets, ready to consolidate power, secure alliances, and ensure no remnants of Aria's empire could rise again. Chicago's night seemed quieter. The storm dissipated, but the memory of violence lingered. The night stretched long, plans solidified, and the two warriors, once strangers brought together by chaos, now moved as a single, unstoppable force. Tomorrow, the city would wake to a new order, one shaped by survival, trust, and the dark bond forged in fire and betrayal. The city lights of Chicago flickered through the misty night as Amina and Jihoon moved with quiet precision. Aria and Ren were behind bars, the chaos contained, but the underworld never truly slept. There were always loose threads, lingering threats, and ambitious rivals watching for weakness. Are we done? Jihoon asked, voice low, tired but alert. Amina shook her head, scanning the streets. Almost. But power vacuums attract predators. We need to secure the remaining pieces. Only then can we call this truly finished. Their first move was strategic. Visit key allies and ensure loyalty. Contacts who had been hesitant during the wedding chaos now pledged allegiance, recognizing strength and survival in those who acted decisively. Jihoon and Amina met with old allies in a hidden warehouse, maps and documents spread across a table. With this, Amina said, tapping the files, we control communication lines, financial networks, and intel. No one can operate without our knowledge. Jihoon nodded. We've turned their game against them. But I want eyes on every corner. If even one faction decides to move against us, then we'll be ready. Amina interrupted, her eyes sharp. We survived Aria and Ren. We survive anyone. Days passed, each filled with meticulous planning, surveillance, and calculated strikes. Every move weakened remnants of Aria's empire. Key lieutenants were either arrested, turned, or neutralized. Chicago's criminal underworld was learning a new order, Jihoon and Amina's. During a quiet moment, Jihoon looked at Amina. "I never thought I'd trust anyone like this. You've changed everything." Amina smiled faintly. "I've survived this long by watching, listening, learning. Tonight, we turn survival into control." He reached for her hand, hesitant. "And after all this, what happens to us?" Amina's eyes met his, unwavering. "We survive. Together. And maybe more than that." Their moment was interrupted by a sudden alert on the surveillance feed. Someone moving near their primary safe house. "Who's that?" Jihoon whispered. Amina grabbed her weapon. "Could be leftover loyalists. Could be someone testing us. Either way, we handle it." Within minutes, they confronted a small group of armed men attempting to breach the perimeter. Jihoon and Amina moved like a single unit. Precision shots, swift disarms, and calculated intimidation. No one escaped. "Check the perimeter," Amina said, panting. "Make sure there's nothing else." Jihoon nodded, scanning the area. "It's clear. They're gone." The night of the final confrontation arrived. Aria's last loyalist, a cunning and ruthless lieutenant named Dante, had gathered a small crew to attempt a coup and reclaim power. Intelligence indicated they planned an ambush in a derelict warehouse by the river. Amina and Jihoon arrived first, weapons ready, shadows blending with darkness. "Stay calm," Amina whispered. "We know their moves before they do." Dante and his crew appeared, smug, confident. "You thought you could end this?" Dante sneered. Jihoon's voice was calm but firm. "We didn't think. We knew. And now you lose." A swift exchange followed. Gunfire erupted, crates exploded, and men collided in close combat. Amina moved with lethal grace, taking out 2 attackers, disarming another, while Jihoon cornered Dante, forcing him to his knees. "You don't have to die," Jihoon said, voice low. "Surrender, or this ends badly for you." Dante laughed bitterly. "You're just a shadow of the people you defeated. This city isn't yours." "It is now," Amina said, stepping forward, "because we survive, and we control the board." With one precise move, Dante was restrained. The remaining crew surrendered, realizing their chance was gone. Chicago's underworld was finally silent, controlled, and ordered, at least for now. Exhausted but victorious, Jihoon and Amina returned to their safe house. Files, plans, and surveillance confirmed the city's criminal networks had been neutralized, or firmly under their observation. The storm outside had passed, leaving only quiet streets and distant sirens. Jihoon looked at Amina. "We did it. Every threat, gone. We survived." Amina smiled, a mixture of relief and exhaustion. "For now. But survival isn't just about fighting. It's about trust, strategy, and knowing when to act." He reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "Then we keep surviving. Together." Their eyes met, and in that moment, the bond forged in chaos and danger solidified into something deeper, a partnership, a love born from fire, trust, and shared struggle. Days later, they walked through the city streets, shadows fading around them. The empire they had reclaimed wasn't just power, it was control, respect, and a future built on strategy and loyalty. Amina glanced at Jihoon. "We should celebrate, but quietly. Let the world think we're just another couple surviving Chicago." He smiled, quietly, but always watching. They disappeared into the night, 2 survivors who had faced betrayal, murder, and chaos, and emerged stronger, bound not just by circumstance, but by choice and trust. If you stayed with us through every twist, betrayal, and firefight, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment, who was your favorite character? Don't miss more intense Afro-Korean thrillers like this. Your support keeps the story alive. The city slept, but in the hearts of Amina and Jihoon, a storm still raged. A reminder that survival wasn't just about fighting the present, but anticipating the future. Together, they had changed the game, and nothing would ever be the same again.